Welcome to one more interview. This is Roberto Monaco here with Chiro Speaking Company and the Chiro Speaking Club. And today I have a powerhouse studman, Dr. Dustin Judd. What's up, buddy?
What's up, my brother? Glad to be
I am
here.
so excited to have a conversation with you. Dr. Dustin probably has, I have not been yet, disclaimer, but from the pictures and the virtual tour, probably has the coolest chiropractic office in America. So I highly encourage you when you have a chance, follow him on Facebook. That office is amazing. And the reason I want to interview Dr. Dustin is because we had a chance to meet, I think, and you correct, maybe 3-4 years ago. And I met this guy, he's pure heart, pure heart. And I feel like when chiropractors, they have this intersection between heart, between story, and between implementation, man, they become like an unstoppable force. And that's how I define you, bud. You have a beautiful heart, you have an amazing story to share, and you're the guy who implements and taking action. So welcome, Dr. Dustin, to our podcast, our show here.
Thank you. I'm excited to share today and just, ask away. I hope my air conditioner coming on doesn't mess up our audio, but I'm excited to be here. I'll share the one thing that I felt has made the most significant impact inside of our practice probably in the last 3 years.
So can you give us a little bit of background for those who don't know you, a little bit about your story, your why you became a chiro, and a little bit your journey, and then we can talk about your one thing.
Sure, absolutely. So I started just like everybody else, just wanted to help people, wanted a good career, wanted to make some money. I graduated in 2005 from Texas Chiropractic College, and we struggled. My wife and I struggled. We practiced together for probably 3 years. We even lived with our parents for probably 2.5. And finally, when we got our business going enough to actually be successful, we got married. We found ourselves pregnant with our first daughter, and I want to make this long story really short. We actually lost her. We lost her after 8 days. We did birthing center, all that, and just due to some complications and just some misjudgment by the birthing nurses there, she didn't make it, and so we really struggled after that as well. And so that's what was the catalyst of me becoming a pediatric chiropractor. We found ourselves pregnant with our second daughter, and inside of that, my wife was like, I'll be damned if you don't know how to check this child and adjust it, because we've seen other people, adjust their kids. And so my wife flew me out to San Diego to an event called Epic Pediatrics, and there was a guy by the name of Tony Ebel standing on stage. And just after about 5 minutes of him speaking, tears just rolled down my face, and my wife just looked at each other, and we're like, holy shit, we could have saved our daughter. We could have done something. She probably would still be here if we had this knowledge. And I remember thinking back and, into the NICU, just thinking like I should do something. Here's all these wires. What would these nurses think of me? What would these neonatologists think of me if I put my hands on my own daughter? And just fear overtook me, and uncertainty and overwhelm and no sleep. And I just let her slowly pass, and we struggled probably for a year. We didn't know what to do with it. My wife was in a state of depression, and I just went back serving patients. But out of this has grown just immense pediatric practice. We're probably 60% pediatrics, cash-based practice, under 12. So we have a huge family practice. It is a beautiful office. I'm very proud of it, and we've worked really hard to get where we're at. And I'm just going to share some of the things that we do inside of there every single week to gain awareness about pediatrics and chiropractic. And my little daughter, Trinity, that did that, she's completely changed our lives and changed my community's lives through her short life. So,
well, I appreciate you sharing this. So I appreciate it very much. And I had the opportunity to actually hear the full version of the story several times, and every single time, my whole body, man, I have chills and I start bawling and crying. So super powerful. So what is one thing, when I like these interviews, I always want to give our doctors here a biggest, like one thing to focus on, or at least like one idea, big idea, so they can start thinking about it, or either even better implementing. So what is your one thing, Ted, in your practice or in your marketing, Ted, you focus on? Would you like to share today?
100%. So, going through pediatric training and learning how to adjust babies and kids, you learn a lot of science. You learn a lot about affrontation and proprioception and neurology and, all these different tracks and sympathetic dominance and, all that kind of stuff that goes along with your pediatric training. And I would put that stuff out there over and over and just, try to just, throw it up on people. And I found, and our practice grew. I mean, it grew immensely. People found where we're at and stuff. But I found, and it's a shout out to you too, is, I found out that, science will certainly grow your certainty and who you are and your skill sets and your adjusting, but there's nothing faster than growing your practice than story. And I followed you, I tracked you, I've been out to your event twice now, just to be a better influence, to be able to tell my own personal story. But more importantly, the one thing that I've learned, because as chiropractors, we're always taught, tell the story, tell the story, tell the story. And I didn't know what the hell that meant. Nobody would ever tell me what that meant. And so I found out what it meant, guys. And it means that, you do share your personal story, but more importantly than even your personal story, you were speaking in I think it was Impact, probably 2017.
Yeah.
And I heard you share one thing that just clicked in my mind. I was like, holy shit, that's it. Is that your story can't be refuted.
Yeah.
So many in practice, like, oh, it's shitty science. It's natural news science. It's not, it's not the legit science that everybody craves and wants, but the one thing that can't be refuted is your story.
Yeah, the line that I use is, you can counter argue facts, but you cannot counter argue story because your own experience, And
so I took that one thing back to my town and back to my practice. It's like, holy crap, there's stories unfolding inside of our office every day. And I made a commitment to myself and my staff that we would literally take the roof, and I said, we'll take the roof off of that bitch, and we're going to show people what we do. And so, that's what we did. And so now I have this whole system. So we take stories, and I'll share everything I do inside this, but we capture and launch and develop, and launch a story every single week.
Capture, develop, and launch. I love the framework. Power of three. All right, let's talk about capture.
Yeah, and it's evolved so much, because used to we'd have this fancy form with our logo, and we'd say, hey, we'd love to share your story. And there's a huge testament, there's a huge difference between a testimony and a story.
Yes.
Nobody wants to give testimony or testament about your business, but they would love to share their story. And so we played on that one, and I just asked them. I would be like, hey, you got an amazing story, you got amazing results. I know that you struggle for a long time. You overcome a lot of obstacles just to get into our office, and fear, and your husband, and money, and time, and so we do that on a form, and we found out people wouldn't fill it out. And so now what we've done is we actually just take our iPhone, or one of my girls do, and she just we just put it on audio, and we just have a conversation with these people. And then we dictate it, and then we add a picture, a photo they send to us, and then we have it transcribed. That's the development part, and then we launch it.
Let me ask a question here, because this is fantastic. It's really fantastic information. So a lot of people, they feel uncomfortable. They would ask, if you're doing a live seminar right now, they'll be like, okay, when do you actually ask? When do you actually ask for them to share the story?
I would just say we listen up, but I think what do you say, your radar or whatever?
Radar. yeah.
Everybody says, hey, he's just doing so much better. Their ear infection, we didn't have to have that surgery. I just want to thank you. Anytime they thank me and give me gratitude, I'm like, I just stop them right there, and I'm like, and I just listen, and I listen intently, and I just shut up, and I listen to the story. And I'm like, wow, that's a powerful story. You should share it, because that story would die right here in this office if you don't share it.
I love that. I love that frame, which is true, right? A story is not story until it's told. I love that.
And then I just go on and say, like, look, you've got a powerful story. I know you, and we have, like, since this has all happened, we have a story culture inside our office. So literally there's stories on all our tabletops. There's story that's rolling on the videos. Like, once you start doing 52 stories a week, like, you got hundreds of them. So they're expecting us almost to ask them for their story at this point. But, I'm just like, hey, you need to share it. You came in from somebody else's story, and people don't know what they don't know. And if you'll help somebody. And it may not even be in this community, because our stories reach far beyond this community, but you'll help some mom in a similar situation if you'll just take the time to do this. You don't have to have your makeup on. You don't have to have your hair done. Your baby can play back in the arcade or our play area, and we can just sit down and have a conversation with you, so you can help another mom and help another human being. And so when we frame it that way, they're more than willing to do it. We do it right then and there, right there when they're in the moment, not on a piece of paper, not something that you. And then my girls just, we have them stacked up. We have them ready to go. And At this point, we have so many that we actually we coincide it with our, right now we're doing a lot of ADHD with back to school. So, we'll stack our stories, for 3 or 4 weeks in a row with just ADHD.
How many stories do you think you have? I know maybe don't know the number, but if you were to, what is the number of stories already that you have published or ready to go with transcribe and the pictures? How many? What's the number? Give and take.
Well over 100, I would think.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, well over 100.
That's fantastic.
There's some that produce really well, if they're getting a lot of, we'll boost them. And so if they're producing really well, we're not going to pull that story when it's got great traction just to put one out a week, but we try to at least capture one of the week. So what we have aboard is that on the capture side of it, we'll have all the people we know they're doing really well inside of our office.
Yeah.
And so we already kind of have an idea. And so when we're looking through our, who's coming in today, who would be a great story to capture? They've been talking, how well their son or daughter's doing, or maybe it's an adult, and we put their name down, and that way we kind of know to ask them. So when our ears perk up, or I'll have my girls ask them. At this point, my whole staff asks. If they're in there bragging on their results or just sharing a win, then we capture it.
Something that has changed in my journey with the storytelling. So my journey, I started storytelling back in study or awareness in 2002 when I got a job with Tony Robbins. And when I started working for Tony, I had no speaking experience. I was learning communication, influence. And I remember sitting down on one of his events, and the guy goes 4 hours just storytelling, right? And then I realized, man, that is not the only thing they do, but that's one of the major things that great communicators do. So then I got a coach, read, I don't know, probably 200 books on storytelling. And now my identity, not only I'm a storyteller, but I'm a story finder, because I have this, my radar, you made a reference about the radar. Man, I'm a story finder. So literally I'm looking for stories all day. I mean, really, truly is because I know they change me first. When I find a good story, they change me. And then in the process, what the story mean to me when change my mindset or my emotions, then I'll be able to become an even better storyteller, That's one of the benefits, right? Because to become a story finder. And I didn't have this identity when I started, Now I'm like, it's actually thinking about it is as important as it is to be a story finder and a storyteller. So.
And for me, it's stories that come out of our office. First off, you just got so much social proof there about what you do, and literally, I mean, I'll have people I don't know where they came from because they've been in our world for so long. They've been reading stories for a year.
Wow!
I can't tell you one story, and sometimes it takes them 10 stories to see what that is. But the biggest takeaway is, we're always sharing science and all this stuff as chiropractors. We want to prove ourselves. And, most people buy emotionally, they buy from, they can see me too inside of that, but none of these stories can be refuted. You're never going to tell a mom that her son wasn't slated for tubes and avoided that surgery. Nobody's going to you'll never have shit comments underneath one of these stories because it's just unadulterated truth right there from them.
I love that. Did you find now before you started doing this process, 3, 4 years?
October of 17.
Okay. 2 years. Have you noticed a difference between before and after in terms of when new people come in as far as doing day 1, day 2, resistance or not?
Oh, absolutely. The ones that have been following us on our social media for a while, I mean, literally could be years, absolutely the resistance is a lot lower. And here's the thing, because we're always going to put, we got HIPAA stuff, and we always get their permission to capture their story, but we live in a small community, 25,000 people. We have an outreach of maybe 45, but it's a small town. We're by far and away the biggest town inside of our county. And so a lot of times they know. So we'll put their first name, not their last, and then we'll not Houston or Dallas or, that. They actually, a lot of times they'll end up knowing this person. And when it's somebody prominent in the community that's been helped inside of our office, that's a huge thing. And that we may boost that for a while. I mean, I've seen these get up to 15,000, impressions and, hundreds and hundreds of comments. But yeah, the resistance for sure. Yeah.
Do you have, how about do you get people from all over, not only your town, reach out to you and say, hey, I wanna, how does that work? Reaching out to
Yeah,
you.
we find chiropractors for all over. So if we're always on Facebook. I'm tagging people that I know in certain states and stuff. Yeah, it does really happen. People will like, hey, can you find me a chiropractor? It'll be in the comment section because these stories started getting shared, and then we do. Yeah, we have to reach out and find chiros for other people. So there's not a week that goes by in my office that we're not finding a chiropractor for somebody outside of our town.
And how storytelling, you said something that storytelling has helped you change the culture in your office. Let's talk about I was actually having someone reach out to me the other day on Facebook about having a hard time with their team, getting the team engaged or the team buy-in. Do you feel that this storytelling culture has at some level influenced your team? Not only you and your patients, obviously, but your team, or no?
No, not at some level. Like for you, like I think at one point you get the story and then you have your team capture them. So if they're reading these and listening to these and dictating these on the computer and they're and they're put them on Facebook, have your team do this. Your girls can do this, or your guys.
Yeah.
If they're doing this, all we're there for every day is to get the story. Like if you start working for the story, like you show up in your practice to change lives and get a new story. And I take such good notes up the front, when our day one, basically all I'm thinking is like, what's the story now?
Wow, that's killer. That's killer. Here's an idea for you. The chicken soup for the soul. The book. Man, you're gonna be the first one. Chicken soup for chiropractic pediatrics. Man, yeah, you have 100 stories already.
100, yeah. I don't think I have the book, but yeah, even in my mind, even in my doctor's mind, we have an associate doctor too. I'm like, hey, I want you to take it so good because this is going to turn into a story. So I get all the stuff that they tried, everything they've done to try to get rid of it, all the obstacles, all the doctors, all the stuff, and like I'm building that story on day one because I know in 6 to 8 weeks, 3 months, whatever it is, that story is going to change. That outcome is going to change, and then I have it. Because here's what you'll find. If you don't have it, a lot of times they forget. They forget they forget about the Miralax and the suppositories and the bedwetting and the difficulty sleeping. And, they just kind of forget. And they're like, holy, and like when you go through your progress exams, you're going to be like, hey, how about this? How about this? How about this? And they're like, oh, we don't have that. Forgot about that. We haven't given them Claritin. We haven't given them Zyrtec. Holy crap. And then and then their light bulb goes off. And that might be a story capture opportunity right there because like, I forgot about all of that. And so it's so paramount that you actually get a good case history up front, really get into the story. I don't even think of it as a history. I'm just like, tell me.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it because I love this conversation because in his speaking, there's one thing that makes a message persuasive is contrast, right? So things that are contrastable before and after. Like I have your beautiful shirt, by the way. Thanks for the shirt. Let me look. Can you read the power line, buddy, or no? Can you read it?
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. Thanks so much for this. So this contrast, right, is gray and white. So that's why it looks good. It's contrast. And in storytelling, like you said before, I just realized that if you really do a really good, you take the history and you're able to identify the pain, the problem really well, right? I don't want to call low point, but like, so that point then, or pain, whatever. And then when you have on the other side, after the breakthrough, the contrast is going to be bigger. So I love that.
No, I mean, that's one thing where I think we're really good at, at least as our doctors and myself, is like, we're really good at expanding that pain, getting to that pit. Tell me how these ear infections have affected your sleep and your intimacy, maybe even with your spouse and your connectedness with your other children. Like, so you really get in there and let them see that problem for what it is. And it's not that you're manipulating or anything, but you want them to understand, you want them to see the impact that that's had in their whole family dynamic. And that's probably a different conversation, but I want to paint that story. I want as many details inside of that story as possible.
I love that. And so what's next for you? As you grow your practice and you embrace this big journey storytelling, what is next for you? What do you take your practice next? What are you doing? What's some innovative things you're doing?
Just adding more video, doing a lot more video inside of our application process. I mean, we're changing over to that so that we can actually filter some of the folks that come through there. Just really showcasing what we do. And yeah, probably opening up another office soon, you know, within the next year, hopefully.
Where? In your area?
Yeah, there's another town just north of us. So I've got a great team that's just growing. They're still young, but you know, getting associate doctors and stuff to be able to do more of this. Speaking, obviously, we speak a lot, and to schools and dentist office and real estate offices. So we're always speaking, telling stories inside of
Yeah,
that.
by the way, I wanna do a post edit here with your permission. I wanna show, man, you sent me a couple really cool pictures. One, you're like a big room you're speaking, I think like maybe 10 days ago, and the other one recently, man. So, you know, I something that I said in the beginning of the call, I admire you, you know, your heart, you know, the storytelling, your journey that you and your wife went through, and the beautiful things you're doing there right now. And then you man of action, man. So the one last request here is are you doing this in your laptop?
I am doing this on my laptop.
The interview, are you using, can you show us around your office here a little bit or no? Can you tease us?
No, I'm actually at my house.
Oh, okay. All right, I was just gonna tease the audience. Do you have any closing message here for the docs that are listening to us today?
So I love a good story. So I was actually on Facebook the other day. So there's this turkey talking to this bull, and the turkey goes like, "Man, I'm so tired. I just have no energy, and I'd love to get to the top of this tree." And the bull looks around. And he's like, "Man, why don't you nibble on some of my droppings? They're supposed to be packed with nutrients." And so the turkey decides he's going to go ahead for it, and he starts nibbling at some of the dung, and he actually found that it gave him some energy, and he got to the lowest branch. And the next night he does the same thing. He gets to the next branch. By the fourth night, he's all the way to the top of the tree. And the next morning, a farmer comes out, spots him, and promptly shoots him out of the tree. And the moral of the story is that bullshit might get you to the top, but it'll never keep you there. And, it's so true in chiropractic. There's so much bullshit out there, and I'm telling people, if we would just be collective,
that's so good, man.
Just truth, just tell stories, and just tell true stories. The true stories that happen inside of our offices every single day. There would absolutely not be any necessity for all the bullshit that goes on.
Oh man, what a way to close the interview, buddy. Thank you so much. I'm gonna have to steal with your permission that story. I love it, man. I love it. I'm gonna put on my story database. Dr. Dustin, thanks so much for sharing your experience, your knowledge with us today. You have if people want to reach out to you, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Probably just our Facebook page. Our Facebook page is Pro Health Chiropractic Center. We're in Corsicana, Texas. If you want to see some of the stories that we put out every single day, I don't have anything to pitch you or sell you. I'm a chiropractor inside of my office every single day. So yeah, just reach out. You can look at our stuff, go through our stories, and see how often we're posting them. Got to get an idea. I want to help people. I'd love to see other chiropractors doing this. I think it just raises our profession as a collective, and it just creates certainty in all of our minds and the public's mind of what we're doing every single day. And some people are shy of that, but I think if you do it in the right way, that becomes easier and easier, and people love it, and they love a great story. So thank you all for what you do, man. You've been immense value inside my life. You have a great energy, and just thank you. I'm thankful that you're in this profession alongside of us,
buddy. I appreciate that. Much love to you, Dr. Dustin Judd. Thanks so much, buddy. Talk soon.